this is what I'm going to do for each one of these. I have washed this one off, and I've got WD-40 in here, and there's not enough WD-40 in there to reach the bottom of the glass. I'm going to wipe that off and then stick it in the socket and exercise it a little bit. Now I got 1, 2, 3, 4 more to do. Here's the wiring diagram of this radio. And I did some ohming out of some resistors, and the ones that I definitely always test are the ones in the power supply, like here R12 and R13. And what I found was R12 is 80 ohms and R13 is 15, actually it was over 1500 ohms. So both of them need to be replaced. So I went down to Radio Shack and bought a 100-piece box of half-watt resistors. And this is what I'm going to use. 3 4.7K ohm resistors and 2 10K ohm resistors all in parallel for R13, and then 3 150 ohm in parallel for R12. And that works out to this 1192.9 actually. I rounded it up to 3. Then the other one, R12, is 50 ohms, which is close enough. Definitely within the 10% range here. Okay, here is the inside of this chassis. And this is where R12 and R13 is. They are connected to that large electrolytic capacitor, and I don't want to remove this. I don't want to leave a hole in the chassis. It just wouldn't look right. So I'm going to try my best to just eliminate this from the electronics and try to squeeze everything in to this radio. And to do that, I'm going to start with that large paper capacitor on the left. I'm going to replace it first. That should give me some room to work. Here you can see that I have replaced the large wax cap with a new capacitor. Gives me a lot more room. And in front of that, you'll notice a bolt there. That's one of the bolts that holds the speaker to the chassis. I'm going to use that to mount this terminal strip. Now here I have cut the resistors away from the circuit. They're still connected to the original electrolytic capacitor, but I've also cut a wire, one wire that's also on that same connection where those two resistors are. And if you look closely on the very first lug, I have soldered that wire on that lug, and it is this wire in the circuit. It goes over to the audio transformer. So that is going to be my connection to the 100 microfarad capacitor. Now I'm going to need more room, so here I have started to wire up that 1200 ohm resistor into the circuit. Plus you notice that I've got a jumper wire on the second isolated terminal also. That way it'll give me more room to work. And here I've wired in the 50 ohm resistor or 47 ohm resistor, and the positive side of that 100 microfarad capacitor. Now here I have cut 3 leads from the other electrolytic capacitor, the original one, and here are the 3 leads that go to that 30 microfarad capacitor. Okay, well, before I do anything with those 3 leads, I've decided it's a good idea to start hooking up the ground wire. And if you look down at the bottom, you'll see that I've soldered in a black wire to the last terminal on that terminal strip. And here I have wired it to the ground of the original electrolytic capacitor. Okay, now I have soldered those 3 leads together, and I'll insulate that later. And I've also connected the 33 ohm microfarad capacitor to the last terminal strip, and here I have connected it into the circuit. And at this point I have replaced all of the capacitors. The network's still in there. I'm hoping that it's good. We'll find out though. So now it's time to do the initial phew, I'm getting tired. The first power up. Okay, it's time for the first power up. I've got this meter on voltage, and always on the first power up I put the leads across the electrolytics to make sure that I have power, and also that I did not wire anything backwards. So now I'm going to turn on my variac and slowly bring up the voltage. Okay. We've only got, now let's see. Now we don't even have 20 volts yet. Let's bring that up to about 50 volts here. Yep, the tube's beginning to warm up just a little bit. And it's going in the right direction. That's good news. Okay. Current is not very high at all. Okay, I'm going to bring it up to about 60 volts. Okay. Tube's warming up a little bit more. Oh. It's playing. Very mushy because the
across the area with temperatures dropping back into the upper 40s to low. Beautiful though for tomorrow. We get clouds. Definitely mild though. Daytime highs.
Okay, I'll bring up the voltage some more.
Then as we head into Monday, a little bit warmer. Most of us will be in the 80s, and we'll see a mix of clouds and sunshine on Monday as well. I'm meteorologist Kim Diener in the Weather Center.
Okay, now I've got it on 90 volts.
extend the tape, you can really of whatever hits on the end, whatever you're measuring. You can grab it from the top, you can grab it from the bottom, or even the sides, which makes it very, very flexible and very useful to have. It's got 13 feet of tape with a shock-resistant design. You can check it out at bostitch.com. Again, that website is Bostitch, BOSTITCH.com. Or pick up the phone right now and let's talk about your home organizational project. The number is 888-MONEY-PIT.
So
now
far,
we've got
so
Kay in
good.
North Carolina, who's dealing with a cracking concrete porch. Tell us what happened.
Well, we'll do some more testing, and there'll be at least a part 3, maybe more. Thanks for watching.